Routine is often underestimated in its power, yet it is the quiet force that shapes the destiny of every human being. The way a person spends their days is the way they spend their life. Small decisions, repeated over time, accumulate into massive consequences. It is not the extraordinary events that determine the future most of the time, but rather the ordinary, consistent actions that are performed without fanfare. A routine is like an invisible thread weaving the fabric of tomorrow, and when one understands this, they begin to see that destiny is not some distant, uncontrollable concept, but something within reach, sculpted by what is done today. Imagine a gardener planting seeds. Each seed is small, fragile, almost unnoticeable, but with time and care, it grows into a plant, then a tree, then perhaps a forest. Daily routines work the same way. Waking up at the same hour, committing to exercise, reading a few pages of a book, dedicating focused time to work, or even pausing to reflect, these are seeds planted into the soil of life. They may not seem significant at the moment, but years later, the results are undeniable. Those seeds become knowledge, health, discipline, and growth. A future filled with strength and clarity is not an accident. It is the result of carefully tended habits that form a routine. When people neglect their routine, they surrender their future to chance. Without a structure, time slips away and opportunities vanish. It is easy to underestimate the cost of wasted time. A missed workout today may not seem harmful, but repeated over months, it weakens health. A skipped reading session may not matter today, but over years, it robs the mind of wisdom. A late start each morning may not ruin a single day, but over time it erodes productivity and confidence. The future does not collapse suddenly. It erodes slowly when the foundation of routine is ignored. History has shown repeatedly that those who accomplish greatness are not necessarily the most talented, but the most consistent. Talent without discipline fades, while ordinary individuals with extraordinary routines rise to levels that astonish the world. A routine instills reliability, and reliability creates trust in oneself and from others. Knowing that one can count on their own discipline builds inner strength, and this strength becomes the energy that propels a person forward. Consider the idea of compounding, often spoken about in finance. Just as money grows exponentially when invested wisely, so do habits when repeated daily. Reading 10 pages of a book each day may not seem transformative, but in a year, that is more than 3,000 pages, equivalent to several volumes of knowledge. Exercising for 30 minutes daily might feel small, but over a decade, it transforms the body and protects it from illness. Practicing gratitude each morning takes only a moment, but over time it rewires the mind to see abundance rather than scarcity. The accumulation of these small, repeated actions is what builds a future that aligns with one's highest potential. Routine also provides stability in the face of uncertainty. Life will always present unexpected storms, loss, failure, disappointment, or sudden change. A strong routine becomes an anchor in those times. It gives the mind something to hold on to, a structure that prevents total collapse. When emotions run wild, routine provides discipline. When confusion clouds the mind, routine offers clarity. When motivation disappears, routine sustains progress. The person who has built their life on consistent habits is like a tree with deep root, able to bend in the storm but never break. At its core, routine teaches control. It is a declaration that time is not to be wasted aimlessly, but used purposefully. By controlling one's routine, a person controls their focus, their energy, and their growth. Without this control, life becomes reactive, dictated by external demands and distractions. Technology, social media, endless notifications, all of these can steal attention, leaving a person drained yet unfulfilled. But with a strong routine, distractions lose their power, focus becomes sharper, and every action is tied to a deeper purpose. The future that people dream of, whether it is success in career, fulfillment in relationships, or personal growth, depends not on what is imagined but on what is repeated. Dreams inspire, but routines execute. It is easy to dream of writing a book, but unless the habit of writing a page daily is cultivated, the book remains unwritten. It is easy to dream of financial freedom, but unless the routine of saving and investing is practiced, money will vanish. It is easy to dream of health, but without daily exercise and nutrition, the body deteriorates. The bridge between dream and reality is not built by grand gestures, but by humble, consistent routines. Psychology shows us that routines reduce decision fatigue. Every day the mind makes countless choices, and with each choice, energy is spent. When a person builds a solid routine, they free themselves from trivial decisions. They no longer waste time wondering when to wake up, when to exercise, when to study, or when to work. These are automated into habits, leaving mental energy for creativity, problem solving, and growth. This is why so many high achievers emphasize routines. They protect mental energy for what matters most. Furthermore, routines cultivate identity. Every action reinforces who we believe ourselves to be. A person who writes daily begins to see themselves as a writer. A person who runs each morning sees themselves as an athlete. A person who meditates each day begins to believe in their own calmness and clarity. Identity is not formed overnight. It is carved by repeated behaviors. And once identity takes root, it influences every decision and every action thereafter. This is why controlling routine is equivalent to controlling the future. It not only shapes what we do, but also who we become. It is important to recognize that routines must be chosen consciously. Not every routine leads to a better future. Some routines enslave rather than liberate. Towers of mindless scrolling, overeating, procrastination, or unhealthy habits. These too are routines, but they lead to futures filled with regret. The difference lies in intentionality. A wise person chooses routines that align with their vision of the future by asking, does this action bring me closer to the life I want? They begin to filter their routines, discarding those that drain them and nurturing those that elevate them. Morning routines, in particular, are powerful. The first hours of the day set the tone for everything that follows. Starting the day with clarity, discipline, and purpose creates momentum that carries throughout the hours ahead. Conversely, beginning the day in chaos or laziness often leads to wasted time and regret. The way mornings are structured often reflects the way life is structured. To seize the day is to seize the future. Evening routines are equally important. They allow reflection, preparation, and closure. A consistent routine before sleep signals the body to rest, the mind to let go, and the spirit to recharge. In this rhythm, one can recover energy and begin the next day stronger. Just as the rising sun brings opportunity, the setting sun provides renewal. A balanced routine acknowledges both. What makes routine extraordinary is not its complexity, but its simplicity. One does not need to fill each day with hundreds of habits. Instead, a few powerful routines practiced consistently create transformation. A short workout, a moment of gratitude, a focused work session, a period of learning, and intentional rest. These simple elements, repeated daily, shape a future of strength, wisdom, and peace. The simplicity of routine is what makes it accessible to all, yet the discipline to maintain it is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Ultimately, the destiny of each individual is hidden in their daily rhythm. A person who ignores routine will drift, uncertain and unfulfilled, while a person who respects and controls their routine builds a life that reflects their deepest values. Future is not built in years but in days, and days are controlled by routines. Those who realize this truth stop waiting for change and start creating it. They stop hoping for a better tomorrow and start shaping it today, one routine at a time. Discipline is often misunderstood as a form of restriction, as though it is a wall built around freedom, a cage that limits joy and spontaneity. Yet, when one looks deeper, discipline is revealed to be the very key that unlocks true freedom. Without it, life is dictated by impulses, distractions, and the demands of others. With it, there is clarity, strength, and a sense of direction that no external force can easily shake. Routine, guided by discipline, becomes a compass, and this compass points toward a future that is intentional rather than accidental. The essence of discipline lies in choice. Every day, countless opportunities arise to drift away from purpose. The temptation to stay in bed longer, the lure of endless entertainment, the comfort of procrastination. It is discipline that whispers, rise now, act now, choose better. Each time that voice is obeyed, the path forward becomes clearer. Without discipline, time is stolen in fragments, leaving behind regret. With discipline, every moment is invested, compounding into freedom. The freedom to live a life that is not wasted. In a world full of noise, clarity is rare. Information streams in constantly, each notification demanding attention, each distraction vying for energy. People often wonder why they feel overwhelmed, exhausted, or unfulfilled despite working hard. The answer lies in direction. Hard work without discipline is scattered, like water poured onto sand. Discipline channels that effort, like water guided through a riverbank, creating flow, power, and momentum. That is why discipline feels like freedom. It takes scattered energy and transforms it into progress. Freedom without discipline is an illusion. When someone lives only by impulse, they are controlled by cravings, moods, and external demands. At first, it feels liberating to do whatever one wants, but soon, the absence of structure breeds chaos. Sleep is disrupted, health declines, goals vanish, and time evaporates. True freedom is not found in surrendering to impulse, but in mastering it. Discipline teaches the mind and body to align with higher purposes, ensuring that choices serve long-term joy instead of short-term comfort. Think of an artist with a vision. Without discipline, the canvas remains blank, ideas scattered but never expressed. With discipline, each brushstroke applied consistently builds toward the masterpiece. The masterpiece is freedom, the ability to bring inner vision into reality, but it is discipline that makes the strokes possible. The same is true for athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, or anyone with a dream. It is not passion alone that carries them to greatness, but disciplined action repeated every day. When a person embraces discipline, they begin to experience resilience. Life will never flow perfectly according to plan. Obstacles will appear, energy will fluctuate, and unexpected crises will demand attention. Discipline ensures that, even in such moments, progress continues. It transforms routines into non-negotiables. The person committed to their health does not abandon exercise because of stress. Instead, they rely on it more. The one devoted to learning does not stop reading because they feel tired. They open the book to strengthen their mind. Discipline provides a foundation that storms cannot destroy. Clarity is another gift discipline brings. Many individuals live in a constant state of indecision, pulled in multiple directions, unsure of what deserves their energy. Discipline removes that uncertainty. It says, this is what matters, and this is how I will act. With this clarity, anxiety fades because each day is not a guessing game, but a path walked with intention. Such clarity also inspires confidence. When one sees their own ability to follow through on commitments, they develop self-trust. They no longer doubt whether they can achieve what they set out to do, because discipline has proven it to them again and again. It is also worth noticing that discipline protects the most precious resource, time. Time, once lost, cannot be regained, and yet it slips away effortlessly through distraction. Discipline guards time like a treasure chest. It creates boundaries, allowing only meaningful actions inside and rejecting what drains energy. People often believe they lack time to pursue their goals, yet when examined closely, it is not a lack of time, but a lack of discipline that robs them. Hours are spent scrolling, worrying, or avoiding work. Discipline reclaims those hours, redirecting them toward building the future. The paradox of discipline is that, while it may feel hard at first, over time it becomes liberating. A person who commits to a disciplined routine no longer debates endlessly with themselves about what to do. They no longer waste energy deciding whether to exercise, study, or focus. These actions become automatic, as natural as breathing. In this way, discipline reduces mental burden and creates inner peace. The mind grows quiet, no longer at war with itself, because decisions have already been made. That calm is freedom, the freedom to live with purpose and without inner conflict. Discipline also nurtures respect, both from within and from others. When one sees their own consistency, they begin to view themselves differently. Self-esteem rises because self-trust is intact. There is no shame in broken promises or abandoned goals, because promises to the self are kept. Others, too, notice. They come to rely on disciplined individuals, knowing they follow through. Opportunities naturally flow toward them, not because of luck, but because discipline builds reliability, and reliability is rare. The role of discipline in shaping identity cannot be overstated. Each time a disciplined action is taken, identity shifts. A person who wakes early consistently begins to see themselves as someone who values time. A person who refuses to break their exercise routine sees themselves as strong and capable. A person who writes daily begins to believe deeply that they are a writer. Identity forms not from what is wished for, but from what is done consistently. Over time, identity becomes destiny. Discipline creates structure, but structure does not suffocate creativity, it amplifies it. Many believe freedom means abandoning schedules, yet the opposite is true. Creativity flourishes when there is rhythm. An artist who paints at a set time each day finds their mind primed for inspiration. A writer who shows up at the desk daily discovers ideas flowing because the habit conditions the mind. Structure provides the soil, and creativity grows stronger in it than in chaos. Perhaps the most profound effect of discipline is its ability to transform chaos into order. Life is inherently uncertain. Circumstances shift, people change, and the future cannot be predicted. But through discipline, a person carves out order within the uncertainty. They create patterns of action that bring stability even when the world outside feels unstable. This internal order becomes a source of strength. The storms of life may rage, but the individual grounded in discipline does not collapse. They may bend, but they stand firm, anchored by routines and guided by purpose. In essence, discipline is the silent architect of freedom. Without it, goals remain fantasies, time slips through the fingers, and the future is built on chance. With it, clarity emerges, confidence grows, and the future is constructed brick by brick, choice by choice. The path may not always be easy, but discipline ensures it is purposeful, and in that purpose lies the deepest kind of freedom, the freedom to live not by accident but by design. Owning the day begins with a simple recognition. Time is the most valuable resource, and once lost, it can never be retrieved. Each day carries within it a pocket of opportunity, a chance to move closer to goals, dreams, and the life envisioned. The day is a miniature version of the future. If one can learn to master the hours, the days will transform into weeks of progress. Weeks will grow into months of achievement, and months will bloom into years of fulfillment. The secret is not hidden in distant dreams or vague hopes, but in the deliberate structure of a single day. By owning the day, one claims ownership over the direction of the future. The morning acts as the gateway to everything that follows. How it is approached often defines the rhythm of the entire day. Those who wake with intention, who dedicate their early hours to clarity and focus, enter the day with power. Those who begin in chaos, rushing, procrastinating, or surrendering to distractions, often find that their hours slip into disorder. A single morning can either elevate or diminish the quality of the day. To own the day means to guard the morning, to rise with purpose instead of accident. When mornings are claimed, momentum is created, and momentum is the invisible force that carries a person toward lasting success. Guarding time is an act of self-respect. It requires acknowledging that every hour has weight, and that allowing others or distractions to dictate its use is equivalent to handing over pieces of one's life. Many live reactively, responding to every message, every demand, every impulse, as though they have no control. But ownership of the day means deciding in advance what matters most, and giving energy to those priorities first. This is not selfishness, it is clarity. When a person structures their day intentionally, they not only advance their own life, but also serve others with greater strength and presence. The future is built in these quiet, deliberate choices to protect time from waste and dedicate it to purpose. Ambition without structure remains only a dream. A person may envision success, imagine health, or crave fulfillment, but without the scaffolding of a controlled day, ambition is left to drift. Owning the day transforms ambition into action. When tasks are scheduled, when goals are broken into small steps, and when discipline guides focus, ambition ceases to be a fantasy and becomes a blueprint for achievement. Each day owned is a brick laid in the foundation of a meaningful life, and over years, these bricks form towers of accomplishment that cannot be shaken. Owning the day is not about cramming every moment with work. It is about balance. Time for rest, reflection, and renewal is as vital as time for effort and productivity. A well-owned day acknowledges the value of pauses, the quiet moments where creativity regenerates and the spirit recharges. Just as an instrument cannot be played endlessly without tuning, the human mind and body require space to breathe. By structuring days to include both exertion and recovery, one ensures that progress is not only steady but also sustainable. A day without balance may yield temporary success, but eventually leads to exhaustion. A balanced day builds a future that can be carried forward with strength and joy. The act of owning the day also transforms identity. Each evening becomes a mirror, reflecting whether the day was seized or wasted. When a person consistently directs their time toward meaningful actions, they begin to see themselves differently. Confidence grows not because of distant promises, but because of daily evidence. Each own day whispers, you are capable, you are focused, you are moving forward. Over time, this consistent reinforcement builds an unshakable identity. Identity then fuels further action, and the cycle of growth accelerates. Those who fail to own their days often find themselves victims of drift. They wake without intention, respond endlessly to external noise, and end the day wondering where the hours went. Days slip into weeks, weeks into years, and the life they imagined remains out of reach. This drift is not dramatic. It is subtle, creeping silently until it becomes regret. Ownership of the day is the antidote. It ensures that time is not surrendered to chance but directed by choice. It transforms passive living into active creation. The relationship between the present day and the future is profound. The future does not arrive suddenly, it is built. Every achievement, every breakthrough, every moment of transformation originates in the ordinary actions of a single day. Writing one page may lead to a book. Saving a small amount may lead to financial freedom. Exercising for a short time may lead to lifelong health. The day is the unit of construction. Owning it means shaping destiny with precision and care. Owning the day also requires courage. It means saying no when distractions and temptations appear. It means prioritizing long-term gain over short-term pleasure. It means resisting the pull of conformity when others waste their hours. This courage is not easy, but it is the essence of leadership over the self. A person who cannot own their day cannot own their future, for the future is only a collection of days, and courage must be exercised in each of them. The practice of reflection strengthens this ownership. At the end of each day, pausing to examine how time was used creates awareness. Reflection allows recognition of progress and identification of gaps. It transforms mistakes into lessons and achievements into motivation. This cycle of reflection ensures that each new day is owned with greater wisdom than the one before. Without reflection, ownership becomes shallow, but with it, ownership deepens into mastery. To own the day is to reject the illusion of waiting for the right moment. Many people delay their dreams, believing that tomorrow will bring better circumstances. But tomorrow is uncertain, and waiting is the greatest thief of life. Ownership means acting now, in the present, with the tools and opportunities already available. It means beginning where one is, even if imperfectly, and trusting that progress will unfold. The future does not begin later, it begins today, and only by owning today can tomorrow be secured. Energy is also a crucial part of ownership. Guarding one's physical and mental energy ensures that the day is not wasted in fatigue or distraction. Nutrition, rest, exercise, and mindful practices are not luxuries but necessities for ownership. Without energy, time is present but unusable. With energy, even a few hours can be immensely productive. By caring for the body and mind, a person equips themselves to direct the day with strength and vitality. Energy, when managed well, multiplies the value of time. Ultimately, owning the day creates a ripple effect. It influences not only personal growth, but also relationships, communities, and environments. A person who takes charge of their time radiates focus and purpose, inspiring others to do the same. Families benefit when one member brings order and intention to their life. Teams flourish when leaders structure their days with clarity. Society advances when individuals treat each day as a responsibility rather than a gift to squander. The ripple spreads outward, proving that the ownership of one day can transform not only one life but many. The future is not a mystery but a mirror of daily patterns. When a person owns their mornings, they build momentum. When they guard their hours, they protect their potential. When they transform ambition into structured action, they turn dreams into reality. Each owned day is a victory, and the accumulation of such victories forms a future filled with strength, achievement, and peace. Ownership is not abstract, it is practical, lived in the rhythm of every sunrise and sunset. To own the day is to own the future, and nothing is more powerful than that realization.